Okay, so you are in a unique position where, we, if you don't know about Operation Mockingbird, the CIA put, you people in the press uh, and on the news, Walter Cronkite's and stuff like that, on the payroll. And so I'm talking to Beth here, and she went and interviewed at the CIA of all things because she's
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm crazy.
Okay, so you're in a unique position because, for whatever reason, I think people think it's nonsense that the CIA would ever do such a thing or whatever.
Uh,
And you had a situation where they told you where to get your news.
they told me the best place to most unbiased news source to get my news when I was interviewing with the CIA, because one of the major things that with the CIA, because it's an international organization, um, or internationally focused, is that in order to work for them, you have to be up on world events and like current events in the world. And The Economist is a magazine. The Economist is a magazine that does like a brief weekly magazine that does a brief overview of world events. It talks about the economics of different countries and currencies. There's different
So
parts to
they were
it.
coming in saying, like, if you want the best representation of what's actually happening, go to
The Economist.
The Economist, not Washington Post, not
No, exactly. It
not the
said
AP, not anything.
they were like and it was mainly just for like the world events and stuff, because they do like a focus on different regions of the world, and then like the top news stories there, and it's not
But you're not coming
sensational.
on to the CIA going, "Hey, I have a full grasp, my thumb on my my thumb on the pulse of world events. So I'm getting ready to make these decisions for the CIA to act." They're not. They tell you what to do.
Right.
It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
the news is is putting
No.
out there. Let's say you didn't listen to them. You're still going to do what they tell you to, right?
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, you do what your boss says, right?
So does it strike you? All right, when you brought it up, it was almost like, yeah, except for this, almost like trust the. This is between you and me, kind
Yeah.
of, but like almost like, well, no, the CIA isn't that bad. They told me who to listen to.
Yeah.
Did I get that wrong,
No, I did. Yeah,
or what's up?
I know it sounds
Repeated it.
ridiculous as far as like who I am and who you are, but if I hadn't had previous exposure to reading The Economist in grad school, I would have been very, very leery of.
But what do you know about the? Okay, so if you read the Bumblebee, what is it? The
Babylon Bee.
Babylon Bee,
Mm-hmm. Babylon Bee.
and no one tells you it's bullshit.
Or
I've read so many.
like The
Okay,
Onion.
my first shut up Trey moment. You know what kind of wake up call?
Yeah.
Was I read a Babylon Bee article and I went nuts with it.
No, you did
Oh
not.
yeah. And I can't remember what it was. I was
Oh
like,
my
I've been
gosh.
telling you this. I've
Oh
been telling you.
no.
Yeah. And then everyone just was like, you moron.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
it's so easy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so easy to to read something.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you had experience with it, which backs up your idea that it's true or
Yeah,
reliable.
because I was getting a master's in business, and it was uh, my economics professor had us reading The Economist regularly, and that's where we got a lot of our lessons from, because we were very much in case studies. In when you get an
Of what?
MBA, of what?
Case studies, like, give me an
Case
example.
studies of, let's say, for example, when Greece
They
economy failed
collapse.
and they collapsed. Um, I got to read and I read and I knew about it a lot because I was getting the reporting from people on the ground there, and it's basically like, I mean, obviously the name
Wasn't that
is
like a lot of students that were like trying to come out of college that were not getting, the I forget how it went. I know that their economy just shot to shit.
their economy shut down, and they basically were like, they put a freeze on the money, and the money was worthless. And this is right when the EU started to happen, and so this is a while back.
This is before Brexit, right?
This is way before Brexit, and
Right.
this is, well, the EU was already in place. This was the currency, is like everybody was sharing the same before everybody started sharing the same.
The dollar dropped,
basically,
yeah.
But it was just specifically to Greece, and so that was before they had the support of neighboring countries in the EU economically. And then, so one of the things that I thought was very interesting in that, me being a handbag designer, is one of the articles I read was so.
Let me guess. Did they start doing knockoffs?
No, they didn't start doing knockoffs. They were advising Greek citizens
Invest
to
in
go
bags.
invest in bags, to go to neighboring countries like Turkey or wherever and buy Hermes bags.
And bring them in there, and they hold their value.
And they hold their value. It's just like when people invest in art. This is wearable art, and you're going to hold your value.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, this is very interesting, because then I saw the value of the accessory, and especially the accessory of like the Hermes bag. Hermes started as a saddle making company in France, back in, his heritage brand that's back in the 1800s, and they became known for the Birkin bag, which is like Jane Birkin famously carried the bag.
And that's what religions do. That you think those golden calves, those big bulls made of solid gold, and all those artifacts that are stuck in these churches, because churches have to move when the stuff hits the fan. They move their artifacts.
Right, okay? That's what art is.
And then, but they hold their value only so much as what you say. But they do it in gold. Yep. They do it in actual gold. And
right.
That's a trip. Sorry, I had to.
No.
I saw that at the Mormon church.
It's really interesting because when you get into these heritage brands, especially like that, and then other brands like Chanel and whatever, but this is what Greek citizens were doing, and this is what
its own stock market.
Dude, it was like
you can hold your value.
You can hold your value, and you can resell that just by owning purses. So people were pulsing out as much money as possible.
Maybe you should go to third world countries and say, "Hey, y'all getting ready to get bombed? Would you like to buy some Elizabeth Purpose?
How about a Longhorn bag?
How about a Longhorn bag?
Well,
they're quite popular on game day.
The Longhorn. So it's really funny because like the Longhorn bag does hold value, and that my whole goal with my handbag line, and I didn't mean to get off on the handbags, but my goal on the handbag line is,
I think it's more interesting than what I was bringing
hold value. Yeah.
That you can buy a handbag to hold your in Greece. If you own a Gucci purse, you may have $500. Say you got $5,000 in the bank. It's worth $50,000, but your purse is still worth $5,000.
Exactly.
That's a trip, man.
Right.
That's
and so they were going, they were going to neighboring countries. But the thing is the main thing though is the Hermes brand. And this is why it was so important, because Hermes bags appreciate in value because they are one of a kind pieces of works of art. And just real quickly, I'll just say, Jane Birkin made the Birkin bag famous. And then Grace Kelly made the Kelly bag famous when she was covering up her baby bump with her bag.
Wasn't that Anahuac though? Where
that's right.
The gators?
Isn't that crazy?
What are we looking at right now?
Well,
that gator.
Oh, that gator. I know. We're looking
straight out of Anahuac right at the same time.
Yeah. So the Gucci and Hermes would source from here in East Texas.
In case anyone wants to buy a bag.
We have the skins, the
we
same
have the skin right
skins.
now.
Yeah, we have the same skins that Hermes uses exclusively.
This show is brought to you by this one gator skin that Stacy, my buddy, brought to me to make a bag.
Stacy did it. I mean, like, he brought us the most gorgeous skin. But it was really funny because,
a pic of it.
But the thing is that and I will attest to this. He's had it for what, 30 years? Yeah. He's had that skin for 30 years.
So it's right in the same time.
It's right in that same time. Well, no, yeah, it's right in the same time. But the skin is exquisite, and you wouldn't think that something that old would hold. No, that's why these bags hold the value, because the quality is the top quality.
All right, let me jump back into. So one way, like if there's a group of people, say there's a war that happens and everyone needs to move.
Yep.
Okay, they say get out. You're no longer welcome here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Poland, whatever. They take their artifacts. They take all this stuff, and it's been built up to certain status as far as artwork, or it's actual gold and silver.
Right.
And they move it as religious artifacts. Another way to do this, to invest, to keep your investment, is to keep skins. Yep. I'm asking you to keep maybe skins.
Yep.
And what do you think? Okay, we're looking at one gator that's about a 5-foot gator that was from 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that would yield on the actual market from back in the day when they were doing it?
As far as the skin or the bag. See, the thing is, the skin itself, the intrinsic value of the skin is only going to appreciate.
Okay, so someone, if they had a gun to your head and said, get out, you're much more likely to leave with your skin than you are with a furnish, like a bag that looks like it should be in a mall somewhere.
Oh, very true. You're going to go with something that's just like art. It's something that's one of a kind. I never thought about it so Hermes, this is why Hermes to me is the top brand, because everything is made by hand. They don't do machines. They do hand stitching. And there's a waiting list. Listen to this. Guess how long the waiting list is for a Birkin bag? A Birkin bag that is like a black or a brown, like a classic Birkin bag. It's about 5 years. There's a waiting list, and you have to pay for it 5 years ahead of time. And you're waiting.
How much does a bag like that cost?
It can cost between $5,000 and $20,000, just typically for a standard bag.
You can tie up a safe $10,000 to $20,000 just by owning a skin and having it in their hands.
That's right. Now,
that's better than some CDs. Better than the stock market.
Well, absolutely. And that's why it was so impressive, because
that's crazy.
And getting back to what we were talking about, The Economist. So I read about this in The Economist before I even became a handbag designer. So I was reading about Greece's fall, and then I was reading, they're advising the Greek citizens were all they were pulsing out money from in Greece from the ATMs, and they were getting capped off because there was a run on the market. Yeah. There was a run on the market, but they were taking that money that was worthless in Greece, and they were taking it to neighboring countries that still is that like gray area of time.
Okay, so there was like a little.
There's a little bit of there was just a little bit of sweet spot. And people were just buying up bags. They were buying up the bags because those were going to hold the value than the current.
So they could take their $50 that used to be $5,000, and go buy a $5,000 bag, and make sure they could sell it. It held its value.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild? And it appreciates. And so in the secondary market right now, you see a lot of these vintage resellers out in the marketplace for these luxury handbags. And I mean, if they're used before, if they're gently used and stuff like that, they're going to depreciate, or they're going to depreciate a little bit in value. Is that
why you're doing the refurbishing of of Gucci's and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
Like people who bring your Gucci's to you?
They're
Is that why you're doing that?
Yeah, because I've got.
Because it's still a Gucci bag. There's still I don't know.
The materials are quality. So. The materials are superior. Traditionally superior to others. Now you get little.
And you can customize your Gucci bag.
And you can customize. That's why I'm making custom Longhorn bags out of vintage Chanel and vintage Prada bags. And so I'm just repurposing and upcycling. That's the word. I'm upcycling vintage bags into my designs. And so that's the other thing when you think about this.
But do you get to still use the Gucci name, or just out of curiosity? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you say this is an upgraded Gucci model of my design?
Yeah, it's an upcycled but
put Gucci on it.
No, I mean, so different than counterfeit. Counterfeit's just completely fake, and it's just like recreating the own material.
You're taking a purse.
I'm taking an actual, authentic with the certificates of authenticity from Chanel, from Prada, and then those are being used to make a creation which is my best design, my most popular design.
What happens if they see one? Do they sit there and go, "This is not cool," or do they go, "Well, it's our purse. It's the same stuff." And she just remade it. Yeah. Because they do break down, and they do have. I'm just saying.
No, they do break. They do break down. Technically, there's kind of like a legally, it's like you can't advertise it as a Gucci bag.
Okay, gotcha. That's
yeah, or whatever kind of bag. You can't advertise it as that, but I can just say it's upcycled from the materials from it in my new design, and so that's kind of how I'm using it. But again, let's go back to the skin that we're looking at here. That's Hermes skin. So you've got that. It's going to hold its value. It's going to retain its value by the maker who's made it. So let's say Hermes makes this bag.
What we're looking at is an alligator skin hanging on my studio wall that my friend Stacy brought over. That's 30 years old that he's kept in. It's only hanging on my wall just because I was taking some pictures. But it's been kept well, and it's from Anahuac.
It's from Anahuac,
30
Liberty.
Years ago,
yeah.
When
Hermes, the brand Hermes,
right.
was sole sourcing all of their gators.
Everything's out of Anahuac, right?
Pretty much. That was.
So this could easily be an Anahuac.
This could have been going into an Hermes if it had made it into the right batch. It's tanned. They're tanned in at the same time. So this is probably a leftover skin from a batch that was being sent to Paris.
Well, he shot it himself
in order to make. Yeah. So he shot it himself.
I'll post a picture.
Yeah. So he shot it himself, but those are they're tanned together. So when you do the tanning process, which you can't just like skin a gator and then make a bag out of it. You got to go through the tanning process. 30 of them at once. Yeah, you'll because you do them in like big vats and things like that for the chemical processes and the treatments and stuff like that. But this is why that skin is so beautiful. It retains its quality.
Well, Stacy brought it to us as a gift.
As a gift
to help us kind of stay afloat with the. While I was down. And with the doghouse,
mm-hmm.
I think we ought to put together. I want to move that thing.
I think
he gave it to us. I think.
Well, I think what's going to be great is then utilizing that, and then we can appreciate the value in it by putting it and making it into one of my best-selling bags, which is a Longhorn bag. Which those will go for $5,000.
It looks a little Aggie-ish.
Yeah, it's kind of like a deep, maybe a deep coffee Merlot maroon to it. Like it's got a.
I'll get all the right lights on it to make it hopefully.
No, but I mean it's
like a mocha.
It's maroon. Exquisite, and so basically it's cut for the belly, and so what we're looking at is the belly of the gator, and then the tail, and everything on it is there's no abrasions. There's nothing I mean, it is really a beautiful hide. And these are the type, this is a quality of skin that these top bags are made of over
I'm going
in
to go out
Europe.
on a limb and say, okay, is the med? What is it called? The brand, the
Hermes.
Air Meds. We can give you one that is of the same era.
Oh yeah.
We got one. We got one skin, and it was brought to us just for one reason: to sell a purse to keep Trick Heart's Doghouse kind of going when I was down for the count. And I think, all right, I'm going to post some pictures of this,
Yeah.
and I'll try and. Can you transpose them onto like that skin
Oh
on
yeah, I can do some
your person?
recreations. I
All
can do
right,
some
well, we'll do
renderings.
that.
Yeah, I can do some renderings of that, and it would look stunning as a long run bag, which is my best selling bag, and it's kind of my iconic bag. What I'm known for. I've been designing for about 16 years.
Now, how does this go into the exodus of the Jews from Poland?
I don't know. Well,
Okay,
when you
we'll leave it at that.
excuse
So
me.
basically, these bags hold value far past what I mean. I know when I went to go see the Mormon church in
Mm.
uh, North Houston, there's a bowl there made out of gold, and I was like, "What the heck?" And when apparently, when you're forced out, especially if you're a religious deal, unless they come in and just bomb you and take everything,
Mm.
they let you take your stuff.
Yeah.
Well, when you're taking $400,000 in gold or $4 million in gold,
Right.
$400 million in gold, I
Yeah,
don't even know
whatever
how much
it
it
is.
was worth.
Yeah.
This is kind of the same thing. And so if you were to do it, if the economy falls, you were to buy these things uh, and keep them pristine, they're like their money, right?
They're absolutely, and it goes back to the old bartering trading days and stuff like that, where you're going to have the value of one thing is going to be is going to translate into whatever currency the person's using, whether it's chickens or gold or cash, But let me get back to this. So with this skin, why it's so interesting is that I read about Greece and the fall of Greece, and then read about the handbags and stuff from The Economist. The Economist magazine was covering the world news.
So you're telling me to get all my news from The Economist? Interesting. Operation Mockingbird and propaganda.
Mock. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we're going to say goodbye here, but thanks, Beth.
Yeah.
For filling us in.
Cool.
I think it's interesting because it's an area that I don't know about, and it's fun to kind of watch the system work.
Mm-hmm.
And a handbag. One thing is a handbag. There's something that an animal was sacrificed. Like I don't mean it that in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
That it's not to be thrown away.
Exactly.
And also that you're going to carry it for years. And
yeah.
I'm looking at this thing, and I'm taking it down off the wall because it was kept in such pristine condition. I just put it up when I set the studio up when we moved locations, but to know the history of it and to know that you can retain your money better than the stock market if something is awry, just by having those handbags and just go. I just thought that was interesting.
It is interesting. I mean, that is why the art world does so well.
Well, anything else you want to talk about?
No, that was fun.
Sayonara. We just did this one off the fly.
Yeah.
And while we're running dogs.
Two robes in the truth.
We're hailing from Trey Clark's Doghouse in Houston, Texas, where we train and board dogs. Beth is a world-renowned handbag designer, and we do it out of her house. So it's just an interesting lifestyle. Where I'm sitting here looking at a bunch of guitars. I do voiceover work, and we've got dogs that we're getting ready to do stuff with on video. And she has a basketball situation where she trains young women with how would you explain it? Just kind of more than how to shoot a jump shot, right?
More than how to shoot a jump shot. It's really a like hands-on at that age, like teen years, where confidence level may be a little lacking.
Beth has got her MBA and her degree and played basketball at Auburn, and it's just fun being married to her, to sit around, and also she's a musician too with some stupid instrument. I can't remember what it's called.
It's called a bassoon.
A bassoon. So, but
Oh my gosh.
anyway, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you later.